Hi everybody and welcome to an episode of Jab in the Hut. Yes, I know I'm not in the hut. I am in my bedroom and I'm basically just kind of bored going outside because it's absolutely heaving it with rain. Um, wow, what news we had yesterday. Honestly, so surprised. I know I said this, that Celtic should probably get rid of Nancy either on the Sunday night or the Monday. And lo and behold, that Celtic got rid of Nancy. Not only that, they got rid of the football doctor himself, Tidsdale. I think this was a great thing to do because at the end of the day, um, that guy couldn't have been left in charge to tacticalise and strategise a win against Sarah McDonald's rapper, to be honest. I really wanted them to do well, and I've probably said this about 10, maybe 11 times. I really wanted them to do well, but unfortunately, it just came to that point in Nancy's time at Celtic where it just wasn't going to work. Maybe if he had a pre-season, maybe if he had the players that he could get in at the start of a season, then yeah, maybe it could have worked. But this is what we have to think to ourselves. He really only had one system. And when Luke McCown came out and basically said that at half time against Rangers, he didn't really have that knowledge or that confidence to change things, to try and tighten things up, to maybe go at a four at the back, maybe try and think to himself that Rangers would probably come out and attack more, and maybe we could just maybe lay off and take our chances whilst we could, or even just start making defensive changes or midfield changes. No. What he basically said was he just went out with the same philosophy, and that was just to basically score as many goals as we could when really we couldn't because we don't have a recognised striker. So, yes, fantastic news. I hope that Nancy does well somewhere else, but it will not be at Celtic. And I think Tisdale should be basically on a boat or something like that. Like he should be just drafted to a faraway island where nobody can touch him because the guy's CV is absolutely rotten. To be given that chance to come to Celtic in 2024, I believe, um, was diabolical. I don't even know who basically got that guy in, who read that guy's CV and went, "This is the guy for me." But apparently, the news is that he went golfing with Dermot Desmond one day, and Dermot Desmond basically just went, "I come to Celtic, beware the boys." So this is what we have to get down to. So this doesn't just end here. I don't think it should leave the spotlight off of the Celtic directors or anybody that's in that boardroom, because to be honest, there definitely needs to be a shake-up. There needs to be people that cannot be at that club, especially the people that sanctioned Nancy to come in and sanctioned Tidsdale to go and get him. Now, to me, it makes me think that Nancy and Tidsdale and Apadu, or Baby Yoda, as I call him, basically wanted a payout. They wanted a payout. So it's one of these things where I just think to myself, like, aye, all right, fair enough. He's took the club to ransom. He's made terrible transfers, Tidsdale. He's recommended transfers to come in, and they've not done the job. They've not went off flying. Instead, we signed two right Instead we signed two right wingers, who basically can't play can't play together, and the only option that we've got is to maybe move one of those right wingers into a left winger when they're not even trained for that. They don't even have that kind of knowledge in them. So for me, I think this is one of the worst management appointments I've ever seen at Celtic. For all my time of being a Celtic fan, for all the times of probably John Barnes being there, but at least I think to myself that John Barnes had an idea, like a way to play football and stuff like that. But still, I think this is the worst manager at Celtic I've ever had, because he hasn't. He's only had 8 games and he's not had the chance, and he's been told to basically pack his bags and go back to Florida or Columbus Crew. And this is what just gets me as well. Like, Columbus Crew still haven't appointed a manager, and it makes me think that he's gone back there. Makes me, I'll be honest, see, as soon as I seen a video of him and James Forrest, and the way he approached James Forrest like a school teacher, and when he asked James Forrest what he was doing, and James Forrest just basically says, "Oh, I'm going to do some stretches, and then I'm going out to do some running for the next 20 minutes." And he just looked at him, and he just said, "Mm-hmm," and then tapped him on the shoulder and fucked off. That, to me, is pretty much like, I don't know who you are and I don't care. It's pretty disrespectful, I think. And then for James Forrest just to turn around and go, "Who's that fucking guy?" That's what a human person would be like, I think. Alright, the cameras are on you, but at the same time you're like, who's he? As soon as the cameras panned away from him, I bet you that's what James Forrest did. And then obviously the idealistics, the way for the philosophy, the football philosophy came in, and the players just obviously couldn't get to grips with it. As well as Nancy inheriting probably the worst Celtic team that we've seen in quite a number of years, to be honest. So yeah, really, really glad Nancy's out. Really, really glad Tisdale's out. And they just need to keep it rolling. You know, next up is Nicholson. I think Nicholson needs to take the brunt of this because he's the person that's been dinging phone calls, letting Tisdale do transfers, and basically letting Tisdale make the calls on on people like Nancy, as well as Dermot Desmond. But listen, we're stuck with Dermot Desmond. We need to be honest here, right? We're not going to get Dermot Desmond out unless he just sells his shares one day. And that's quite a tongue twister. Unless he sells his shares one day and leaves the club for good. But unfortunately, he will not do that because he says he's a Celtic man and he loves that money coming in, especially for the transfers and winning all the Scottish leagues and all that kind of thing. Well, that's if you get any money for winning the Scottish League these days. But yeah, next phase is Martin O'Neill back in. I am so fucking happy about this, and I'm sorry for swearing again, but Martin O'Neill should have never been taken out of that job, because again, you had Martin O'Neill in that position and he was making the players play for him, and then you took him out and you took Sean Maloney out and you took Fozzie Bear out, and you basically just went, do you know what, Tisdale's making the choices for us. We're going to get Nancy in and he's going to bring us all the great football that we've really wanted. I don't even think Nancy was properly researched. And I don't think Nancy properly researched Celtic. You're dealing with two forces that just don't give a fuck. And literally, I think that's what happened here. Nancy came in, instantly was disrespected, didn't like it, didn't like the cold weather, fucking wanted to go back to Florida. He's probably thinking to himself, why the fuck am I in Scotland? Why the fuck am I in Lennoxton? It's snowing. See, when he came in, it rained for fucking 5 days, 5 or 7 days. So would you not be fucking looking about going like that? This is shite. I would prefer to be in Florida. Got to Universal Studios. Got to Disneyland. But, straight for the point, the fact is, there is a bit of goodness in this world to have Martin O'Neill back in that dugout, and have Sean Maloney back, and have Fozzie in, and even Stephen McManus, because at least he's a defender and he knows how to fucking defend. So there you go. You've got your defensive coach, you've got your midfield coach, and you've got Martin O'Neill right in that sector where he knows that he needs a big fucking striker. And that's basically it. And Martin O'Neill, I think, has already came out and he's already said, we're going to buy players. And I hope to God that's true, because this board need to finance this and they need to get right on it if they're going to have any chance of getting the Celtic fans' support back. And Michael Nicholson, I'm really, really sorry, but you are one of the guys that should have went out with Tidsdale as well. Maybe you've got a few more months left to try and rebuild your reputation. I get that. But at the end of the day, I'm sorry, you've made absolutely far too many mistakes. And that should be a cross on you getting the job in any other fucking job in any other fucking football club to this day. So yeah, sorry if I feel so strongly about it, but this shouldn't have never happened in 8 games. It's absolutely embarrassed Celtic. It's made Celtic look like they don't know what the fuck they're doing, and this is exactly what's happened to Celtic through this board's management. So I think Nicholson should go. I think Chris Mackay should go. Definitely. Because they're obviously not doing fuck all. They left it to Tidsdale to go and get this guy. And they never even researched him. And then when he comes, they do like a wee video press conference of Nicholson giving him a big hug and a handshake, and then taking him around the training facilities. That's it. There was no support there for him. There was nothing. It was terribly, terribly supported. And this is why I think it's a sad time for Nancy, but I also think it's a good time for Celtic. Because now we move on. We forget about that and we move on. And we get Martin O'Neill and Sean Maloney and Fozzie getting this team up to standard again. If Martin O'Neill could get results for this team, I'm pretty sure we can get results going forward. Alright, we might have a few losses, but at the end of the day, we've still got a legend that's took the reins again of this team, who I don't think wanted Martin O'Neill to leave, let's be honest. Okay, the performances weren't great before then, but at least he was getting results. Nancy, the performances were good in first halves, but they weren't good enough. And it didn't get us results that we wanted. Whereas you feel with Martin O'Neill and Sean Maloney and Fozzie and Steve McManus, and even Stevie Woods. Thanks for staying, by the way, Stevie Woods. Thank you very much. Now we can go on. Now, don't get me wrong. My third and final thing that I feel is going to happen. It's great to have Martin O'Neill in that back, but we need to generally... I don't think this has stopped the gravy train of future thinking for Celtic. They tried Nancy, it didn't work. I understand that. Maybe they'll think about this as going forward. If they're going to bring somebody else new in, they need to do it during a pre-season. When Ange Postecoglou came in and decided he was going to change stuff, he did it in such a manner where he lost a couple of games at the start, but then he revitalised the team and he got them playing. And every fan could genuinely see what he was doing, what he was trying to build, what he was trying to do, what his philosophy that he was basically stating, you know. But the main thing is, Celtic played really, really good football with him, and he had the right ideas of what players he wanted to bring in. Whereas I feel if you gave Nancy that transfer window, it would have just been absolutely pissed up against the wall. And I generally feel like that's the reason why they sacked him. Because they knew that he was a fraud. They knew that he was a clown. They had no idea. He only knew how to play one way, and that was it. So yeah. Next thing going forward is if Celtic are going to do this again at the end of the season, if Martin O'Neill doesn't want to stay on, okay, they might just give it to Sean Maloney and Steve McManus and Fozzie, which is fine, but I don't think Sean Maloney's the man for the job still. I feel like, because it's a lot of work, it's a lot of media work, and it's a lot of stuff that you need to be in front of the media and answer questions. I don't know if Sean Maloney can be in that role. I still feel like you've got to have a spearhead, and that's why I think Martin O'Neill's perfect at it, because the media love him. The media absolutely love him. So yeah, I feel like if we're going to go forward in the next chapter of the Celtic, which will be next season, if we win this season or not, it does. To me, if Hearts win it, that's fine. If Rangers win it, bad news Celtic. Yous are out. Boardroom out. And that's it. All of it. Ransacked. Can't have this. Can't have this happen. Celtic is one of the biggest clubs in Scottish football and probably all over the world. And I know people in England and all that might find it hard to kind of get to grips with this, but at the end of the day, Celtic are a big club. You've got to kind of realise it, because all we've done is get talked about the last few months, and now we're at a situation where we could steady this ship. And if we get to the end of the season and we want to bring in somebody else, like maybe a Kieran McKenna, or maybe a Robbie Keane, or maybe a Damien Duff, then fair enough, because you need to think about the future here, you know, because we've got players that will probably want to leave. Maybe Callum McGregor will go to Saudi. You'll have a ransack of that squad, obviously, because there might be some squad players coming in right now. We don't know. Might be transfers happening. We don't know. But we just need to kind of hope that Martin O'Neill is going to, Martin O'Neill and Sean Maloney and that are going to stray us on this nice, warm path of just getting results and just playing like Celtic again. And thank you, Martin O'Neill, for coming back. Thank you, Sean Maloney, for coming back. Thank yous all so, so much, because we really need that team galvanised. We need the happiness to come back, because the last couple of weeks, we've not even seen Callum McGregor. He's not even been there at the front, and he's our captain. We need to revitalise that confidence back in him as well, and I think this will do it. Thank you. And God bless everybody. And I hope you've had a great start to the week. All right. So remember, doing something means everything. This is me out. I've ranted for like 15, maybe 16 minutes. But I love yous all. Mwah. And have a happy midweek. It's nearly Friday. Wednesday tomorrow, then Friday, and then that's it. The weekend's here. All right. So take care of yourselves. And remember, doing something means everything. Love yous.